on bossing up, on goal setting. So check that out as well. Samantha, I want to know if there's one woman or a number of women who act as an inspiration to you, and why.
Oh, there are so many. I'm really grateful to be surrounded by incredible women. I have to say, first and foremost, would be my mom. She's a powerhouse who just leads with such heart, and she's had her own business. She's been, top saleswoman in a very dominated, male-dominated industry, and she's such an incredible role model and my biggest cheerleader. I would also have to give major credit to my first boss, who really helped pave the path for me in, professional context, and really helping me find my voice in making sure that I was seen, that my ideas were brought to the surface, and that I really had what I needed to be successful in not only finding myself and who I was as a professional, but in leading a team and really changing the game with where I was at. And I would say, although there are many more, there's one that I definitely have to give a shout out. Solange Tuyashime was the guest that I had on my show for International Women's Day. And at just 11 years old, she escaped from war and genocide in East Africa. She left everything she knew behind and started a new life in Canada. She's now Miss Canada World 2021. And it's stories like these, and not just stories of women, but women in particular who are changing the game, who are so confidently stepping into the unknown and helping blaze trails for other women to make changes, to empower, women and girls alike to find their place in this world and create something bigger than them that we can all kind of link arms with and move forward towards.
It's as we head into International Women's Day in a couple of days, I think your words, Samantha, resonate with so many women, but I would also want to look at the other end of the spectrum. We heard from Bela, a young, wonderful woman just on the first half, and she, very young age, 13, 14, 15 years old, starting to sing, and may have been, a little intimidated at such a young age. So what would you say to some of the young women out there? And I hope parents and grandparents, mums and dads are listening, because it's only normal to feel intimidated at a young age, and you might not think you have it in you to compete in a competitive marketplace. So what do you say to them?
I resonate with that, and I felt that as well. And the sooner I realized that there really is no competition, there's only opportunity. And when we see someone doing something that we want to do, they're showing us that it is possible, that we are indeed capable. And when I shifted my perspective and really decided, I'm going to reach out to that person and see if there's something I can learn, or I'm going to follow their journey and see how I could take what they've shown is possible and make it my own. It helped us to pave my path. It helped to put my spin on things, and it helped me to recognize that there is room for all of us to win. And more often than not, people are willing to help, lend a hand, and say, this is what I learned, and this is how you can do it even better than I did.
I want to raise a question that people hate to talk about, but clearly you have a good handle on, because you've done all these promotions, etc. It's a very uncomfortable thing to talk about money. Women in particular, I would say, have even less comfort talking about it, yet we deserve to receive as much or equal pay as anyone else. So what would you suggest about how women can be more comfortable asking for a raise or a promotion?
It is a loaded question, and there's a lot of emotion that goes behind it, and a lot of, I think, societal pressure and history that backs it. But in my case, anyway, and I can really only speak to my own lived experiences, but it started with a choice and an understanding of my value. And I actually was telling this story a couple days ago to people that I work with. The first raise that I asked for, it was actually not a raise. I was given a job offer, and I said, I'd actually like to come in at X. And they said, listen, what we're offering is Y, take it or leave it. And I took it because I was fresh out of school, and I hadn't really I hadn't discovered what it was that I could bring to the table. And I decided that at that point, that was the last negotiation that I was going to lose. And that from there on out, I would make sure that I'm not just asking for things, but that I am leading with value. And when I became wholeheartedly convinced of the value that I brought to the table, it was a different conversation. I was not asking for money. I was not asking for recognition. I was bringing the value to the forefront, to the agenda in saying, here's a snippet of what I can do. If given the chance, here's where I'd like to move the needle further. And it evolved into more of an organic conversation of, well, naturally you're going to need a team. Naturally you're going to need more resources. You're going to need a higher title. And so it was less of asking and more of, show, don't tell, and really putting the value first and being comfortable and having the conversation.
Well, good on you, Samantha. That's author, business coach, and marketing expert Samantha Kris. And you know what? Have the guts to ask for more. You have the right to do so, and you've obviously shown it. Samantha, I'm intrigued. You are an entrepreneur at heart. You've been doing some wonderful things for many, many years, and then you've pivoted over the last little while, joining the team at Goalcast as the head of people and culture. And that takes a lot of guts, I have to say. And can you tell us a little bit about what went into that decision, and tell us a little bit more about what you do there?
Oh, gosh. So much went into that decision, I have to tell you.
Must have been tough.
I had a little bit of an identity crisis, to be honest, because I thought, if not an author and a coach and a consultant, then what am I? And it took a trip to Bali and a session with a hypnotherapist and a whole lot of soul searching to realize that what I was most afraid of was leaving behind what I had built. And I had this light bulb moment that I am not walking away from anything. I'm not leaving anything behind. I am taking a quantum leap forward in the direction that I had set out for. Why I went into business in the first place was to help people take inspired action. And so I really welcome the opportunity at Goalcast with open arms, because their mission and values are so aligned with mine. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was obsessed with the brand, with where it was going, with the potential. And joining as the head of people and culture has been an absolute dream come true, because we are, a lot of companies are closing their doors during this time, and we have the intention of doubling by the end of 2021. We're actively hiring. People are at the core of making this company succeed. And if I could play a small part in helping our team further deliver the impact that we are with the videos we're creating, there's really nothing more I'd rather be doing at this point.
Well, thank you, Samantha. I think you've identified and demonstrated how one goes about making some decisions and being successful, and why we did choose to invite you for International Women's Day. Samantha, how do people get a hold of you?
SamanthaKris.com is the best way. You've got all my handles there, the link to the Catalyst show and everything else. Thank you so much for having me, Corey and Matt. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. That's Samantha Kris, author, business coach, and marketing expert. Corey, what do we have next week on Life Unrehearsed?
Next week, is the pandemic driving people out of the city? For some, the answer is actually a resounding yes. Join us to hear why some families have chosen to make the move into a more rural setting.
And we're going to have a really special story. We're going to meet an award-winning social worker whose effort to ensure a palliative care patient had their dream wedding. And that's going to be next week. Thank you very much for listening in on Life Unrehearsed. Many thanks to our technical producer, Jimmy G, working the board. We appreciate all your help. And you can catch us every Saturday on CJD 800 at 3 p.m.
Life Unrehearsed, brought to you by Caregiver Crosswalk, Dementia Care Consulting. Never roam alone.